Drog. So there's going to be a very interesting clash of styles, I think, on the final map. I think for Xron's best chances, he does have to get himself the 2-0, though, if he wants to get the victory. Whereas I think if we go the distance, Cypher definitely got his shot to go up versus Rafa in the quarterfinals.
And there's always the situation that Cypher is motivated. That really is the word I think I'll use for him right now. That we've kind of said it a few times, and we'll say it again for the sake of those potential new viewers, that Cypher, although he is a legend in Quake history, in Quake Champions, he's pretty much consistently fallen short, which is a very, very strange timeline to be in.
Yeah.
However, this is a massive opportunity for it to be Cypher's return to glory. He's already made it into the Quake Pro League Stage 2 by getting through Garpy yesterday. Can he go all the way today? He has to get through Xron first, and we're going in to the Blood Covenant.
It's getting straight into the action at the moment. We're going to be with Cypher off the beginning. He has the Visor going versus the Galena. He'll eventually go back for that Mega Health. Just checking there's no rail angle or any trickery happening from Xron, but he's already setting up shop with some of his totems. He's got one over on Banana. And hello, mate. They do a little transfer. Cypher may be missing a chance to land something more direct, but he'll still take that as a positive trade for himself, as he could lead towards a heavy pickup.
Absolutely, and there's also the situation that we just saw where fundamentally he could have got a bit more damage, but also he took nothing himself. That could have been a really awkward back and forth, but right now, Cypher getting tagged by a rail, and a Rocket actually has to watch out for those totems, especially with only 56 stack. Never mind, he was railable anyway thanks to 86 HP. And he's going to be swiftly deleted there by Xron. But Cypher spawning right near the heavy. See if he can get out. A little bit of a fumble there from Xron, shooting the ground and doing damage to himself. That's not what you want to see first thing in the morning.
Nice movement, though, from Xron. I like his rocket jump. He has tried to make good amends to take away some of the items from Cypher. Certainly a small missed opportunity to deal more damage. If he had hit the rail off the spawn, too, he would have been looking phenomenal. But still a great start. I loved the execution on the rails in the first kill.
But Xron really looking to deny that heavy as much as possible. Has to be quite careful himself, though. But that rail's going to be wonderful. Has to hit one more of those, and it could have taken out Cypher. He's going to jump down and disengage thanks to the light armor. Going to go around near Mega, and somewhat of a trade-off is going to occur. There's really nothing that resembles a delay in between those items, so it kind of creates that interesting game of who's going to try and break that cycle first. Yeah,
it's whether it will be broken at all, or if they're going to be fighting between the items, and then the player who can go into control. Does he just get that natural desync between the items? We'll have to see how it plays out. Cypher, when he picked up the heavy, he had no armor anyway, so he's not working with any overstack, but he's neutralizing Xron's stack by landing a rail like this. And he's going to peek for another. That's a great shot from him. That could have been led in with the piercing sight, and you can see up by the champion portrait that it's gone off cooldown, and he's going to pick him out of the skies of that bounce pad.
That was just a wonderful combo into piercing sight to finish the job. He obviously just going to do the maths in his head. He knows Xron's weak. He knows he's railable. Let's pop the piercing sight. And that corridor near the bridge to rail, quite normally a dead man zone. It's quite hard to survive in that situation. It's really good that he was able to hit the rails necessary to push Xron away, and then even then finish off the frag. It's currently going to be 1-1.
And so we go into this desync territory now with the items, where Cypher's got a chance to work with both. So we'll see how it goes with it. He's got piercing sight, unfortunately for him, misses the shot. Xron looking for any opportunity for extra damage before dodging out of the room. And there are a few totems that are spawning. Eventually Cypher finds one of them, but the other one by the machine gun spawners are just elusively staying alive.
Xron's doing a good job of just keeping the totems spread out. Some of these larger maps, the benefit you have with Galena is the ability to really put those totems in awkward positions that a player has to really go out of their way to deal with them. However, a point-blank exchange, looking to finish it off. Xron, unfortunately, mate, knocked into orbit and then some. No way he's going to be able to air control that, thanks to Galena being kind of limited when she gets knocked up.
A little bit limited, yeah.
Now here comes the... What? That LG just disintegrated the health.
What did Xron just do? His lightning gun went next level, 2 for 2. I thought Cypher was going to go totally crazy with his control, but Xron's damage output. I mean, I was talking yesterday about Xron not being very confident in his aim at the moment. He's got no reason not to be confident if he's shooting like that.
The totem just to top him up just a little bit. Overstack is going to apply thanks to 3 totems being on the ground, which means that if the totems don't get dealt with, Xron is going to have just free real estate to run around, heal up, get a Mega on demand, and pretty much establish a huge level of control. He is going to lose 1 totem. However, if Cypher doesn't take them out, then in 24 seconds we're going to see another one and just create the 3-chain all over again. Here comes the long-range Xron, desperately trying to stay alive. Has to be very, very careful. 62, he's still railable at this health. Another totem's going to get taken out. Information, if anything, for Xron. Not that you probably realized Cypher was there in the first place anyway. But here comes the fight for Mega take place. If Xron has to concede it, he has to do as much damage as he can in the meantime. Cypher, he's going to tactically wait a little bit, but now he's taking a bit too much damage for him to potentially be comfortable with. He is going to disengage from the fight, and now the fight for Heavy might take place here.
Well, he did so much damage to Cypher that Cypher can't really challenge for it directly, but he finds a stray rail, gets the exit damage, which I think is the best that he could have hoped for then. The fact is that Xron's not working with a railgun. He's been doing great job with the heavy machine gun, but if he had the rail, I wonder if he could maybe increase those opportunities just a little more for that long-range burst damage.
But Xron aware of that, and he has to be so careful in the middle of this map, especially knowing you're going up against a Visor who might have piercing sight ready at any given moment. With the exception of you getting hit by a specific shot where you kind of have a bit of a sixth sense that it was a piercing sight shot. But now Cypher just getting rail after rail, looking for another one. Xron on the run. Oh, we heard that. The rail missing barely. Xron with no armor. That would have been a very, very scary rail to get hit by indeed. But once more, the 3 totems being stacked, but deleted. That's really important to get rid of them.
Slight botch movement, but it's not going to cost him in the end as he gets over towards the light armor, and I think he's finally going to get himself back onto the rail again. There we go. Calls for celebration for Xron as the trifecta is reunited. There is a heavy, small bait from Xron to see if he can do some extra damage. Cypher lands a great opening rail shot. And Xron's just going to fade away, knowing that he has delivered some kind of damage. Here's one more, and that's a perfect job from Xron. Everything's been neutralized, and it goes down to a sort of even fight at the mega health, which Xron has an advantage on because of his positioning.
I just feel like Xron has done a wonderful job of making these major item pickups from Cypher not really seem so major. It's not really giving him a lot of room to work with. As you can see, the stack heavily in Xron's favor. Did get tagged by 1 rocket though, so he's got to be a little bit careful about where he's located. Easy to get caught in a terrible position if you're down there. Low on rockets too, only 2 in the tank. What a rocket there from Cypher though. Absolutely fantastic, and now Xron's in a bit of an awkward position.
He needs some light armors for him. 1 more totem down, it's not going to give him any overstack, and he just keeps on piling them up at the HMG stairs. Cypher has so much fuel in the tank. These rails, if Xron can land 1 more, he alleviates some of the pressure that's on him. 1 more light armor, and he's feeling infinitely better. But Cypher, small aggression. Xron's got to be careful that there's no piercing sight that's being used. It's actually up and in 20 seconds for Cypher, but you can not always be too sure about that on this wide open, large map.
As we see, Xron really try to set up shop towards Mega. There's always that factor that Galena getting that reduced cooldown if she picks up a health item. However, the rocket's too real, and Cypher with a massive punish on the jump pad, making it 3-2. And this late in the map with how, I guess, not very impactful. Like, there's been not a lot of frags throughout the course of this map. Making it 3-2 this late, such a good look for Cypher, because he's been in a wonderful level of control at the same time. And now he just needs to maintain this lead, keep up that defensive game. Piercing sight ready in 4 seconds, which could spell disaster for Xron if he hits a good rail.
So there's a weird mind game at the moment, because Heavy's in fact still up, but they're fighting over at the mega health. So I wonder if Cypher probably knows that the Heavy is up, but is thinking that he can make that ploy against Xron who might not be aware of this. He's not going towards the heavy armor. Cypher's left it up the entire time, feigning that he has control of it.
And now
he definitely has it.
And he's nowhere near Mega either. So Xron, I feel like, has been a little bit mixed up by these.
Yeah, Cypher's being very tricky to play against with the major items. It's so difficult to get a read on where you are safe to go to. And also, did Cypher already take the time out to go for those major items? Chance for Xron to get some punishing damage as Cypher walks through the choke point. Eventually, Xron is going to be a few seconds early. He's up wide in the open. With this piercing sight, Cypher would need to hit a rail shot. He'll land 1, but it'll be before the item is taken. 1.5 minutes to go. Xron has got something to work with. He can actually get the kill here. Railable, he's going to go for the rail shot. No, lightning gun. He's so weak, but the clutch rail from Cypher. 4-2 now, and it's really a tough job for Xron.
Especially when we factor in that we only have just over 1 minute remaining. That was a do-or-die situation. In this case, Cypher's going to hit the money shot. But I mean, Xron, he swapped to the LG. He tried to keep it a little bit more consistent and safe, and he was so close. He was one tick away from getting the frag he needed.
I think it was the right decision as well from Xron. It was just that execution. Sometimes when your opponent goes clutch, you can do nothing but respect it.
But that very likely has straight up secured Cypher this map win. If Xron gets him now, then perhaps there's a chance. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have the stack to fight back. And at this stage, a little bit too much work needs to be done. Fresh off the spawn, it's going to take him time to get the weapons that he needs to even be able to create this daisy chain of frags. And with, less than 30 seconds remaining, I don't think it's possible at all. Cypher can feel really good about how he's played on this map, especially that final moment. And it's just bringing the clutch is something Cypher's been doing all weekend.
Yeah, it's been a very solid game from him. And honestly, I think Xron has played great too. It's just in those very small instances who can be on the trigger just those fractions of a second faster. Guys, that is going to be GG. It will be 6-2 for Cypher, going 1-0 up.
But by no means is it over yet. We are still in the best of 3 situation when it comes to the tournament. We're going to be moving into the best of 5s a little bit later in the next round and beyond. And Cypher, there's such a very, very, I guess, calculated demeanor when you look at him. He kind of doesn't look visually distressed. It's very much more of a, when the pressure's on, Cypher just kind of has this very sort of casual vibe to himself.
He's got the focus though. I feel like there's no humor in any of it. It's still, he's enjoying it, but I feel there's focus, precision, and everything going on inside.
I think there's just so much weighing on this tournament for Cypher. Like, this is an opportunity to be a real return to glory.
That's true, but there's so much work, I think, left. I don't think he's going to be happy unless he makes a final.
Oh, no, without question.
I think that those are like the minimum requirements for him to really feel like he's kind of back in shape properly and that he can take his game to that next level. But, time for us to get there. We'll see how the rest of the game concludes. I want to talk a little bit about how some of those moments happened. Xron had an opportunity to get back into control a little sooner. We saw how that very strange turn of events with the heavy armor and the mega health happened with about 2 minutes to go. I wonder if something small altered there and Xron had that read on the items. Could he maybe have a chance to come back sooner? Could he have had those extra resources to survive that rail in an instance like that clutch fight up at the upper catwalk?
But then on the flip side, it's like you said, you have no choice but to respect the clutch, something that Cypher brings. And I'm going to be honest, being able to have that level of composure this early in the morning is insanity, just in general. It's not easy to have that level of focus when you're tired. You might be a little bit jet-lagged, whatever it may be. So yeah, props to the play and props for the execution required at the very end. But we're going into Ruins of Sarnath, I believe, now.
That is right, yes. We should be getting a Sorlag from Xron and a Ranger from Cypher. There's a clash of styles here between champions, but they can kind of also clash physically and go into this explosive ball of chaos and damage with the acid and the dire orb. Again, I think it's going to be very important for Cypher to be picking off those long-range shots, HMG, rail I'm talking about, good predictive rockets, and obviously if you can get some tri-bolt, if you can catch Sorlag with the tri-bolt when she's running around so fast, brilliant. For Xron, it's about getting that stack advantage and being able to push close when the dire orb is down.
Well, it looks like we're loading into map number 2. Xron versus Cypher. This could be a 2-0 for Cypher or an opportunity for Xron to tie the knot just a little bit, but the matchup that we're looking at, Ranger versus Sorlag, those dire orbs, not for the faint of heart in time limit duel.
No,
the utility of using it to move around is fine, but the second the fights break out and you see players really dedicate to using the orb as an aggressive tool as part of their combo and I guess in some ways their burst damage, if you mess that up, you're in no man's land with no escape plan. So you have to go all in sometimes.
I don't think Xron realizes that the orb's been used. If he knew that the orb was used, I would suspect he would actually push into the heavy armor area. But he's doing fine with control. He's got a greater stack than Cypher has. As a Sorlag, it's important to maintain that. We'll see when they decide to actually properly get involved into that. So hand-to-hand combat, going through the teleporter, going to find Cypher straight away up at the top. The dire orb, just going to spam onto it. He's not at risk of being shot. And you can drop down and maybe set up for an early heavy armor pickup.
It'll be an interesting exchange here too, purely on the basis that the Mega and Heavy almost deadlocked in time. Only 1 second actually separated them. But now Xron, understanding Cypher's likely to be at Mega, seeing as he was nowhere to be found near Heavy. Sorlag is a very dangerous champion on this map, so you know the ability to kind of just go as fast as she really wants to. One of the underratedly fast champions compared to her size, that's for sure.
Well, if that heavy armor pickup goes again, I think definitely last time it favored Xron more than the Mega Health. Now it's a bit like, what tickles your fancy? So that heavy's going to go straight away.
There it is.
It's going for a very small delay here. It's not really enough to justify being able to get the heavy and then straight over to the Mega Health in the perfect world. But because they still all have the weapons, they both are sharing control. It's down to who gets that first blood on the map. Looks
like we might be in the verge of a fight breaking out. Teleporter being covered though, and it would have been very risky indeed to follow him through it. Some nice little LG is going to come through. Cypher does dedicate to the orb instead. Misses the rail. That would have been a very impactful rail. Exactly 90 stack remaining for Xron would have been a kill. And Cypher's going to finish the job. Anyway, really stuck in a position where there's not really a lot of places to run. The jump pad would have been, you know, a guaranteed kill in itself. Tries to run in to steal it away. Can he finish it? No, the rail again to finish the job. Xron, so close yet so far, seems to be the running theme of these fights.
Yeah, he was missing a bit of the nails. Was landing accurately at the beginning and then just couldn't find those couple of last connections to secure the refrag. He does take a nasty rail off the spawn, and that's going to mean that Cypher feels like he can't relax, but at least he doesn't have to be conscious of an immediate charge from Xron.
Cypher just keeping this level of control that he's kind of had the entire map, especially now the frags are starting to go a little bit pear-shaped. Trying to look for one of those rail angles just to undo the work of the heavy if he can, but for now, looking to just cut him off. Gets the good read on the jump pad. Xron trying to spring the attack just a little bit. Acid's going to get used to at least deny the area, but it's not going to lead to any damage, unfortunately. Cypher stepping back, trying to hit a rail angle. Xron's going to miss his, but fortunately, Cypher misses his shot as well. Here comes another exchange, some pretty decent rocket damage, and it is going to be the green light to go in. Cypher bags another one, 3-0.
Some brilliant rockets. We're getting good long-range damage. Xron seems tired of this, wants to push in and nullify some of that overstack that Cypher is getting. Doesn't do a bad job again, but he needs to find that range damage. Can he get those opening rails that will let him really push into a fight properly? It's not going to be the first damage. Cypher has that, and suddenly he's in control of the fight once again. 2 for 1 on the rails. Xron is weak. Suddenly Xron gets a return, and there's still a few seconds until the Mega is. And the die roll comes in preemptively in case Xron chases around the corner. Smart thinking from Cypher.
Just trying to cover his bases, I suppose. Saving on the rocket ammo. Also at the same time, the Dirob having the opportunity to really be unexpected and just come out of nowhere. The damage output. And Cypher's going to run in Xron. I mean, he's too weak. This is the constant problem that you will end up facing. And this should be another easy pickup unless Xron gets some miracle LG. Unfortunately, can't get it this time. 4-0 now for Cypher. But the moment he's hitting all of these rails, it's putting Xron so weak that actually trying to challenge for these pickups becomes a huge risk. You know, all it takes is maybe one rail for them to then pick up the item and then simply chase you down. It's what Cypher's been doing a couple of frags here.
Cypher's in a bit of trouble at the moment. If Xron's got a good read on stack, he should know that after this heavy, he can really push in hard. He has to make sure he controls that major item. But Cypher keeps hitting this amazing out-of-control damage. And Xron's got to take those seconds longer to get back into a comfortable position before he can do anything. Now he really has got to worry about the Dire Orb when in close range.
There is going to be somewhat of an answer to it thanks to Sorlag's Acid Spit. You know, if a point-blank fight happens, she's definitely got the tools to get it done at the same time. But the question is, who's going to spill the blood? Xron gets a frag. Finally looking for it. And actually, very good time to get the frag too. Cypher should get picked up for a second time. That's a free Mega and even now a free Heavy. Kind of best case scenario.
No, this is absolutely huge for Xron because the Dire Orb is still down. He has insane control. So if he could just rush into Cypher, he could make up these frags really, really fast. He's already done an immaculate job of this. He's just got to get past these rockets somehow.
But he knows that the rocket's realistically the only weapon that Cypher's going to have. That's putting a lot of faith. And the acid damage over time. Thank you very much. He's going to pick up another one just in time for the Mega. Xron should be able to collect. He'll have the knowledge that at least there should be a rail now. There might be an LG collected at the same time, so it's not going to be as easy of a job.
This is still very good for him. If he can bait out that Dire Orb once again, he's in great shape. Right now, I kind of see this game as just totally even. They might as well be 4-4, 3-3, whatever.
This is the initial rocket. Doesn't teleport towards the orb again, but the orb, I mean, it's something that you have to respect. Xron can barely tank one rail in this situation. And Cypher hitting a beautiful angle. I wonder if Ron has just convinced he went down the hallway there.
I think so. He didn't seem to be aware of what was going on at all. He's lost out on the Mega Health. He's probably going to lose out on the Heavy. Ron is, yeah. I was saying how it felt like it was an even game. It doesn't feel like an even game anymore. It's
I mean, it's the punishment.
harsh.
It's the punishing factor of Time Limit Duel. All it takes is one miscalculation, which in many ways, that's all it was. That Ron miscalculated where he thought Cypher was running away. She'd be able to swap to the rocket. Doesn't matter. He's only got one cell left because splash damage will finish it. But one mistake and he's lost so much momentum.
He overcommitted to the fight at the Mega Health. He dropped from where the Mega was spawning in 2 or 3 seconds to go for damage, and it ended up backfiring on him. Ron has managed to get a little bit of control, some damage now, but he's got to do all that work again. But this time he really has to tie it up, and he's only got 3 minutes.
As long as he's hitting shots like that, Cypher's in a pretty good position now, because it kind of creates that issue that was happening at the start where Ron is so weak. What a rocket! And the combo to rail at the same time. It's absolutely insane how Cypher is consistently hitting these, but looking for another one. Yeah, doesn't dedicate too hard. Decides that he's jumped down a little bit too early for him to take the shot. But just this level of Ron, you think there's a fighting chance. There's a shred of hope in a fight, and then there's just this direct rocket into a sick rail shot, and then that's it. His health is just deleted.
Brilliant work here.
Nice little trick.
He managed to hit one rail. Still got ammunition to work with, but backing off. Cypher might be thinking about how he can play this defensively. With 2 minutes to go, can be dangerous, but again, as you're saying, if he hits those shots, what does it matter? There's another. Cypher 2 minutes away from making it to the quarterfinals, from not even being in the Quake Pro League before this weekend.
I'd like to mention, actually, for those that haven't seen the bracket, this win would also result in a match against Rafa. So there's a lot riding on it for the fans, if anything.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's a lot of love out there for Ron, but you're looking at an old El Clasico there. That is something people are going to be very, very hyped about. Ron does get some damage with the Acid Spit. He should get the kill from this. Is there anything he can still do? I mean, honestly, there's a possibility. I just feel like Cypher's shutting down everything that Ron wants to do.
At the very least, he's going to try and get heavy, but I think this is really now a situation where Cypher's able to disengage and play that hyper-defensive game. You know, 4 frags in about 1 minute and 15 when he has the dire orb very, very soon. What kind of rocket was that?
That was absurd. Okay, these rails actually from Ron. Oh, he looks for a last flick, and that's going to punish him. He was praying to land the miracle shot, maybe giving himself a chance right in the back stages of the map. I think that one is shutting it down. And Cypher, maybe we'll get a small smile. But when he sees Ron's face, maybe.
But I mean, it's been a good weekend for Cypher so far, Zoo, and that's the thing that Ron has been playing. I know that Ron always beats himself up over losses and stuff like that, but with shots like this, come on, Cypher just looking for the finishing blow. The rail downtime is gonna, yeah, point blank. Thank you. But I mean, I fear that Ron's going to take this loss, you know, quite hard, because I know he always does when he takes defeats, but he has played so well this weekend.
I think so. I think he's going to be hard on himself, but I know these guys have a great relationship too, so obviously you want to be the champion, right? But you're going to be happy for a friend at the same time. We'll see about that. Let's see what the fighting spirit is like when we get the cameras on both of the players. But that is GG, guys, and Cypher is getting the 2-0, getting over to the quarters. He'll be buzzing with that.
Good result, absolutely, and by no means are we finished. Oh. Shame to see Ron go now,
yeah.
But you know, fundamentally, he's well integrated within Stage 2 of Quake Pro League, so by no means is this the last we'll see of him. But Cypher, definitely, we have more games from him to come now.
No, indeed, that's very exciting. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Ron play as well later down in the Quake Pro League Stage 2. For me, he's one of my favorite players to watch. I find him really exciting. He's got such a smooth style, but are we celebrating the return of Cypher at the moment? Is that what this is all about over here?
Well, I mean, that does mean that he's going to get a match against Rafa in a few hours' time.
Can you just say that a little bit slower, just so we can really just take that in?
Cypher's win against Ron means he will now face off against Liquid Rafa.
It sounds good.
What year is it?
I just don't know. This is... yeah, what world are we living in right now?
But it's just the way Cypher is now starting to approach. I know that time limit duel, I really feel like that might have assisted Cypher in the first place. Like that change really has helped those old school players really kind of refine their footing, or even in some cases, like players like Cooler establishing a new era of dominance that maybe we didn't quite see to the same degree. And, you know, Cypher, I feel like, is just one of those players that's taking that element of the mode and just running away with it. He's had a hell of a journey so far. And you know, there were a couple of weeks in challenges where he had to win. There was the only way for him to really get through, and he pulled off what needed to be done. Like the amount of pressure that has been on Cypher's shoulders, and I have no doubt is still on his shoulders if you ever talk to him.
It's all the pressure he puts on himself. No one pressures him harder than what he expects of him, of his own performances. He's got a lot of fans who are very vocal, a lot of people who are supporting him all the time, you know, and rightfully so. But it's his drive, persistence, and will to win that is getting himself in these positive situations. Look at that, 52% rail. We saw some of the most amazing. It's very difficult to land predictive rockets like we just saw against a Sorlag that's running fast around the map. So I can't express the skills and predictive plays involved of Cypher. That's something that I think has always been an amazing talent of his.
It's just natural skill. It is those moments of clutch where it's frag after frag. Sometimes those crazy moments where someone just turns up and brings what they need to, like whether it's a crazy little combo, whether it's a miracle rail. So many times in Quake Champions we see maybe one of those in a series, and yes, it's a huge game changer, and maybe we'll talk about it in droves because of just how much it means. But for Cypher, I think that's why he's such a legendary player, because those moments are his bread and butter. That's why Cypher has always been held in such high esteem, because it's the natural talent, just the natural ability to play Quake at a ridiculously high level, and he's carrying that into this year pretty well so far.
No, exactly. We'll talk about it more, guys. We've got some brackets to look at so that we can see what it's updated. It's like that moment on Blood Covenant where he hits that rail of 6 health left, and you have that player who's so excited they're I'm about to take down Cypher, and then the disappointment fix where it's like, oh, he's just gone clutch
denied.
Yeah.
But as you can clearly see on the bracket, to talk about it one final time, and we'll talk about it many more times.
It's real.
Rafa versus someone screenshot.
It's
right
real.
Now.
It is real.
But that does mean our next matchup also promises to be a absolutely fantastic one. Dahang versus Avec. More storylines, a day of storylines. If Dahang is able to conquer Avec here, he's going to get the matchup against Razy, and in week number 10 of Pro League, Razy inched out Dahang by barely anything. They had the same amount of points. It was the frag